What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, man. Hearing aloud at the podcast we had just done, sucked or not. That's fun stuff. Also, we have retro reviews posted the Raw and SmackDown production scripts. Fightful Wrestling Weekly is going to go up there very soon. I'll talk about that in a moment. But this show brought to you by omgbutter.com or omg.com rather. OMG Butter is where you can find them on Twitter. Let them know that you heard about them from us on Fightful. Even if you don't go to omg.com and buy some of their great products, check them out. I love ghee. I got to try it for the first time a couple weeks ago. Now it's all I fry my stuff in. And off the air the other day, James Lynch, my co-host on the 225 post show, said, man, I use ghee all the time. I'm going to check that out. We have a promo code for those of you who listen to the MMA podcast, so definitely go and check that out. You can get your omega-3 and omega-9 fatty acids in there as well. I love that. I take fish oil every day. It's the one supplement that I would take if I couldn't take anything else. It's got CLA in it, which fights cancer, all kinds of great fitness and health benefits from ghee as opposed to butter, as opposed to margarine, as opposed to everything else. And it lasts a lot longer. Check it out. omg.com. That's omghee.com. And of course, OMG Butter. I mentioned the Fightful Wrestling Weekly. This week, it's largely going to be surrounding the situation in which I interviewed Corey Graves. That came about in a very peculiar manner, and I think it affects a little bit how our viewers take in their news, because it's very uncharacteristic to get a comment on the record from somebody in WWE if you work for a website that covers wrestling full time. There's often times that Fightful.com gets a little more leeway with some places because they see us as an entity that covers MMA and boxing as well, and they want that crossover. However, quite frankly, WWE does not like it when their talent does this. And while they're not strictly forbidden from doing so, it's certainly not celebrated. However, WWE did invite me onto the NXT conference call tomorrow, which is Wednesday at noon. Assuming that all gets confirmed, we will have a live stream of that here on Fightful.com. It's the Triple H media conference call where he talks about NXT, the UK tournament, all that good stuff. Jeff, I know I just brought up a lot right there. All this stemmed from the CM Punk fight and tweets. Why don't you just unpack all that I mentioned dating back to CM Punk's fight?
Well, we know you won't be getting the first question on the conference call. That always goes to Mike Johnson.
Mike Johnson, yeah. He's got the cheat code.
I am, you know what? I was a little bit taken aback that Corey Graves talked to you guys too on the record. And of course, you being a good journalist, you asked very good questions. You got the information out there. Me being the sputtering moron that I am, I would have asked, you remember that time you name dropped Donnie Iris on Raw? That was the coolest moment ever. I loved that. I'd be Chris Farley. The CM Punk losing his fight wasn't a shock to me. The shock to me was more Dana White really being angry that someone was going to draw out TV time. Fight. Really? I don't think he's being asked back anyways. Might as well milk it a bit. And also, I will just mention this, even though it is not WWE related. Dominion was an absolute pleasure to watch.
It was that I watched the co-main event and the main event first. By the way, guys, Fightful Select subscribers or non-subscribers, you can check out the Weekender podcast. I did it on Sunday so I could review Dominion. That is up on FightfulSelect.com for free. It's on FightfulPods.com for free. Go check that out. I watched the Jericho Naito match and the Omega Okada matches first.
Okay.
Because I knew I was going to get spoiled if I didn't watch them first. That was a very nice way to spend a couple hours.
I watched from beginning to end, and I had avoided spoilers. And the way that I know it's a fun show and one that I'm really into, I actually put this up there with Great American Bash 89 as a complete big show package in terms of there's nothing I actively would have fast forwarded through that was kind of dead weight that I didn't enjoy. I was expecting the intermission, and I never got it. And then I was kind of taken back that it had already been 4 hours and I'm already and we're at the main event. I was like, oh my God, wow. I mean, it did not feel like
did they do an intermission?
No.
I was gonna say I didn't see what I like it.
They did.
I
They
love
did
it.
5 hours straight, and you never notice it if you would watch it from the beginning. That to me is the mark of a show that keeps it entertained, keeps the pace going, and builds and builds. It was great.
Just fantastic. Guys, if you all want to chat with me during Raw, during SmackDown, head over to our live coverage. Also, I'm going to be more active on the forums. We have Money in the Bank predictions up there. Stop by and make yours. I've got an NBA draft thread. I'm ready for it. NBA free agency, I'll be over there talking trash, talking all kinds of trash. We're going to make our predictions for Money in the Bank and NXT TakeOver tonight. But yeah, myself and Jimmy Van will go deep dive into the Corey Graves thing, and I'll break down a lot that's in the Fightful Wrestling Weekly, which you all can get early if you're a subscriber to FightfulSelect.com. But there are long-lasting ramifications to this, and hopefully it helps push some change in the right direction. Also, Triple H sees that ability to push things in the right direction for wrestling websites, which is where the majority of the people watching this and really that get their wrestling news, that's how they get it, is by going to wrestling sites, Ours, Pro Wrestling Sheet, Wrestling Observer, Wrestling Inc., WrestleZone, all those places, as opposed to Sports Illustrated or ESPN for the wrestling news. So I will definitely tackle that long form on both the Weekender podcast and the Listen Your Boy on Wednesday. But we've got SmackDown live. Again, guys, I post my match ratings, which will be up probably shortly after this podcast. But starting next week, I will be live in that chat, in that live discussion. And yeah, just come in there. Have a good time. This show starts off with Paige in the ring for her Money in the Bank Summit. And I mean, Jeff, you know what's going to happen here.
Look,
Shitty dialogue. That's what was meant to happen here.
Are you kidding? I mean, there's no less creative pay-per-view the WWE ever does in terms of its build than Money in the Bank, other than Survivor Series, maybe. Yeah, I'm just happy they weren't on ladders saying all this.
Yeah, that seemed to be the next step. It was not good. Lana lost her accent again. I've had people say, "Oh, well, she hasn't had it for months." Well, I don't know. It's kind of inconsistent to me. She'll show up backstage and have it and then not have it. Whatever. I don't mind. I don't care. I kind of hope it comes and goes. I hope she changes it every week. Why not?
Well, in front of a SmackDown crowd, Paige lists off the Raw participants to deadly silence where they were expecting cheers or boos or something like that.
The pauses were funny.
It's the Jeb Bush please clap moment of
Yes.
WWE.
Paige gives this rah-rah speech about her needing one of her contestants to bring her home the briefcase. I don't know why any of them would give a shit. I don't. The Iconics come out and clown the contestants, which is kind of funny. They twerk and pretend they're Naomi, and then they make fun of Charlotte. I kind of like the imitation gag. That's something you can do every week, but pretty soon they're going to run out of impersonations.
I think they're great at it. I don't know the and especially because they're bad imitations. They're not good imitations. Charlotte again cannot go without corpsing when she watches someone making fun of her. But there's something very endearing about Billie Kay just having no rhythm and doing all that.
So Absolution joined them and say there's more talent outside the ring, and then in it, a brawl breaks out and a match is set up for later tonight. Later backstage, Asuka says she wants Carmella tonight, so they are added to the tag team match as well.
Asuka blending into a towel hamper. Then all of a sudden appearing in the hall. Whoosh! What are you doing here, Asuka? Waiting in the hallway for me to walk down. Yeah. But this is, I mean, I was noticing the back and forth on Twitter, you arguing about whether or not this was actually going to happen or not. I got caught up in that last night a little bit, but yeah, just believe Sean Ross Sapp. He gets the rundown.
I mean, I even post it. People can subscribe and go read it themselves. Jeez, man. Daniel Bryan, his promo last week from WWE Digital, essentially, some of it honestly, the least good parts of it made it on TV, but at least some of it did. Last week when he cut this promo about Big Cass saying he was going to break Daniel Bryan's leg, I thought the best line was, "You don't know how."
Yeah.
Ooh, that was such a...
This promo was one of my favorite things of last week. And it went on, and I saw it after we went off the air, but no, looking into the camera and threatening violence is my jam, as listeners of this program will know. So I loved every moment of this. I don't understand why they just didn't play the whole thing on the air. But
yeah, why not? It was like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Bryan has his knee attacked by Shelton Benjamin early on. Shelton drops it across the announce table. I thought that was a great spot early on. Daniel Bryan flips out of a suplex and attacks Benjamin's knee, but really goes at it. And the selling from Bryan here was great. I love two guys working the same body part on one another. I would love to see that in a good long... That's the kind of thing I want to see in an Okada-Omega match. I want to see both guys working the same body part, and it gives out on both of them at the same time. We get a big superplex from Shelton. He gets caught in a yes lock, but turns it into a half crab. Daniel Bryan then switches into a heel hook, and it gets the tap. It's nice. It's different than the yes lock. And I thought they made Shelton Benjamin look pretty damn good here for 10 minutes in. Got out of the yes lock, which might not be his go-to finish anymore, as we've established the heel hook, or maybe they're establishing it right now. What do you think of this match? It's the first time they face each other since 2010 inside a high school.
I really liked it. I think the negative you could give is a lot of the good stuff happened during the split screen. So if Anna were still on this cast, she wouldn't have been able to see the really great parts of this match. This to me was a solid, say, mid-tournament G1 type of match you'd find on the mid-card or something. And a nice, solid, hard-hitting, told a nice short story, work over the body part, two guys who really know their stuff, and one guy wins. I had absolutely no issues with this match. I thought it was great to watch.
Shelton Benjamin has excelled in his role in doing this. And we kind of knew a couple years ago when it was teased that he would be brought in, that before they even signed him and he hadn't had his physical yet, that this would be his role. And he's done great things with it. He's done what he's needed with this. So good on Shelton Benjamin. We see the Miz backstage doing some Miz Jitsu in a ref's shirt. He says that he's practicing for a movie called Rough Ref, which we got to get now.
I actually think that's a real project. I'm not sure. No.
We have to get it.
You know, the way that he eventually got into the description of it was so... I thought it was well done for the type of comedy that they do. It was, yes, it's Rough Ref, a story about a dog that becomes a ref. You know, just kind of the natural flow and cadence of the lying. I thought it's a very underappreciated part is Miz's actual acting chops.
He's great. He was back there in a ref shirt, finds a way to convince Paige into putting him as the special guest referee in the Rusev Samoa Joe match. We haven't had a good special guest referee match in a while. We used to have them all the time.
It's less is more.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Sorry. Man, we haven't had a good one in a long time. We don't get them that often. Good.
Yeah, you're right. We have a bit of a king's court. Jerry the King Lawler, in what is now referred to in WWE as the Okerlund position, I'm told, which I think is kind of nice, appears and invites AJ Styles out to the ramp, compares his slap last week to Andy Kaufman's, and AJ's comical laugh to that, like that, like, oh yeah, you slapped that guy who's dead now. Okay. All right, AJ. Styles says Nakamura got under his skin and deserved what he's got. This is really quick and to the point. I do like having a person like Jerry the King Lawler to prompt these guys to say these things. That was instituted a long time ago, and it's a step in the right direction. So whatever. But AJ Styles has said a whole lot of nothing in a lot of his promos for a long time.
They're in Memphis. King gets a cheap pop. Didn't overstay his welcome. Didn't make bad jokes. Played the straight man. I'm fine with this. I'm just I'm not the biggest King in WWE fan. I like him in Memphis. I like him in Memphis wrestling. This was fine.
It's good to see Rusev in a babyface role. He defeats Samoa Joe with special guest referee The Miz. Now, this is only because they're in this match, but he's also rewarded by being the first guy big enough in a long time to take a suicide dive from Samoa Joe. So you're welcome. Here you go, Rusev.
You know what? I like that Miz, once he put on the ref shirt, was paper mache, but he got over it quick.
Yeah.
Which is what you should do for referees. All referees are made out of paper mache. They should oversell every bump that they have to take. I'm also going to put over Miz in the segment with Danilo. I thought that was a very clever, straight absurd type of comedy scene where Danilo basically didn't do much other than spout gibberish while the Miz was yelling at him. I thought that was very well done as well. The match itself, man, give me a Haas battle with Rusev and Joe. Without this, it was good.
Each other around for a while, yeah.
Yeah, but then you get the Aiden English distraction, which you were expecting, and the Miz not counting a pin. The usual tropes of a special referee match on TV. But please give me these two just smacking each other like Ishii and Suzuki. I'll take that.
Well, here's the important question. Last night, Baron Corbin debuted a shaved head in a moment in which we dubbed the night that wrestling was revived one.
Constable Baron Corbin, please give him his
Corbin,
title.
My apologies. Tonight, Samoa Joe debuted essentially the Samoan Demolition Man haircut. On the scale of the night that wrestling died to the night that wrestling was revived, where do you rank this haircut?
Yeah, Joe's. I would have it all shaved off by Sunday.
Really?
That's where I'd rank. I didn't think it looked that good on him.
I think it looks different, and I think that's what he's going for.
Okay. Maybe dye it blonde.
Go full Demolition Man?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, Shelton's not doing it, so why not? Aiden English distracts The Miz after a couple of Rusev kicks, and Miz gets squished in the corner by Rusev. Then Joe kicks English, drops Rusev, but Miz thinks that Samoa Joe did this, is pissy and won't count. Rusev hits the Machka kick in the pin. I think it's a creative way to give Rusev this win without making it look like he just kicked Samoa Joe's ass. So, I mean, that's fine, but this wasn't like some great match. When I saw it on the run sheet, I thought this is going to be a great match.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, it wasn't.
No, this is the build. This is the go home show for Money in the Bank. You're putting everybody in the ring together.
Well, the Miz wasn't listed in the run sheet, so
and making it short. That's what you're doing.
So Rusev attacks Joe with a ladder after the match, and Miz hits the skull crushing finale on Rusev. Climbs the ladder, takes down the briefcase, in which Byron figures out pancakes are in all over the place. We cut to backstage where New Day are laughing hilariously. This was actually filmed last week at SmackDown because they are not there tonight. So they filmed this 7 days ago from them reacting to something that happened tonight. I kind of like that.
Yeah, that was good. Mrs. reaction was a little bit over the top, but it was supposed to be. And once again, the rules of analyzing Money in the Bank. If you grab the briefcase, you're not winning the briefcase. So we can eliminate Rusev from the list of suspects.
Wait, you mean Miz?
Oh, Miz, I'm sorry.
Miz. Although they've switched that up sometimes. We need to keep a record of who gets the upper hand on an opponent before these shows and keep those stats.
You know what? Me misremembering that. I say that 3 times fast. Now that changes my analysis because I thought the Miz was probably going to win this thing.
Yeah, man, and we're gonna have to make predictions momentarily. I made some last night, I'll mainly get yours.
I need to crunch some numbers. You go ahead. Sorry.
Jeff Hardy defeated Shinsuke Nakamura via DQ. I love the setup for Nakamura's entrance and his theme and just the preparation. I'd say my favorite was when The Rock went Hollywood and he had like the chopper and shit that would set up his theme and it would just have him whispering. That one was a good one. This one's a really good one as well. Jeff Hardy seemed like a real non-entity on this show of late, and he is United States champion. They clearly still want to keep him strong, but he isn't there in his hometown. We had Alex Andreessen, a sponsor-level tier member of Fightful Select, recount his experience at the Rally Smackdown Live, and he said, man, he got an insane reaction. It's weird they didn't put him on TV for any reason. Why even have a title on him if you're not going to do anything? I mean, well, that could be the case with a lot of people. No Andrade Cien Almas tonight. Apparently Sin Cara got hurt. Bludgeon Brothers are like never on this show. Authors of Pain are never on Raw. They have no plans for so many people.
Yeah. And, you never know if there's any agenda behind it or if it's just, well, we don't have anything, so let's not put him on TV right now. I would tend to think that it's the best of both worlds for not putting Jeff Hardy on TV, because then you don't get blowback from, why are they putting this convicted drunk driver on television? That kind of thing. And it's one of those
title on him anyway.
Because he's
one
still
moment he looks like he's lost a step, the next minute he looks great.
And I think that's the other reason. You use him judiciously so that you have the good Jeff Hardy as opposed to the worn down and hurt and just going through the motions to go through the motions Jeff Hardy.
And the thing is, sometimes you see both of those guys in the same match.
Yes.
That's the sad thing. The Whisper in the Wind either misses by a mile or kills people, as we saw tonight. It's pretty rough. He had a clothesline off the apron on Nakamura. Jeff Hardy got all this match. This was all Jeff Hardy. Twist of Fate on Nakamura. Swanton hits, but Hardy is hurt. Nakamura's feet are in the ropes. I thought this would have been a great spot. If there was a little more on Nakamura, if he got a little more offense, that when Jeff Hardy hit the Swanton, it should have hurt him a little more than it hurt Nakamura, and they could have done the 10 count, and then Nakamura gets up.
That would have been interesting. I think, it's almost like they forgot the stipulation of the match when doing this, but you know what? They've already done that with Nakamura and Ty. So you don't need to. Yeah, I know. But still, I like the idea. Don't get me wrong. But if they hadn't already hammered it over the head with the guy with the 10 gimmick, then it would have been, that would have been very clever in that case.
So how'd this match end, Jeff?
Punch to the penis.
Right in the penis.
Oh, I'm going to miss these moments when that's gone.
I'll find a reason.
Yep.
Right in the penis.
In the yam bag, as Chaz
Cass was at a fair today. Do you think he entered the cornhole tournament there?
I think being a city slicker as Cass is from New York City, I think he'd find cornhole beneath him.
Do you think that he played the dart game with the balloons, where if you bust one of the balloons, you get one of those, I think it's like a 5x5 photo with the pane of glass over it, and it's like Warrant, like their cherry pie cover or whatever it is.
You know what I think he really wanted? I think he really wanted to do that game where you have the board with all the nails in it and you run the car in between it and you bet on which spot it goes to. And then if you win enough times, you can get like a 2-inch teddy bear or something. I think he'd be big into that.
Do you think that he won a bunny rabbit by making the ball in the cups?
Yes, and then he loved it and kissed it and hugged it and named it George, and he petted the rabbit.
He did the speed pitch when you guessed the speed, and he won the feather that's really roach clips.
Did he buy a corn dog or some other batter dipped type of perhaps deep fried Kool-Aid, maybe a deep fried Snickers?
True story. Okay, so I live next to US Highway 68, and every year they have I think it's called the 200-mile yard sale or whatever it was. My wife and I went hiking that day at a state park near that, and there's a monument store where you can buy
monuments?
giant Sasquatch monuments and things like that. And that's like one of the focal points for this yard sale. And just out in the middle of nowhere on the highway, there's like one of those funnel cake stands.
Okay.
Bam. It's like I can't not buy my wife a funnel cake when it's it's really close to my house. We usually have to drive all the way to the fair for something like that. But
was this before or after the impulse buy of a monument of some like 4th-tier general in the Civil War who saved your Kentucky town from a flood or something like that?
There were some Confederates. Needless to say, there's some of that out this way.
Oh, I know.
We'll not go there.
No.
So Big Cass shows a roller coaster height requirement and says that Daniel Bryan doesn't measure up. Yeah, I don't think Big Cass's promos are bad. I think that they fit his character pretty well of him just thinking that he's good because he's tall.
I don't think Cass could fit in a theme park ride, to be honest with you.
There ain't no way they're letting him on the Beast at Kings Island.
Let me tell you something. I was working a theme park ride when Shaquille O'Neal wanted to ride, and that thing was a lesson in trying to bend physics.
A word to the wise: if you're ever going to a theme park or an amusement park, spring for the fast passes.
Yes, I would say that, especially in the summer. Or the best time to go to a theme park is that if they're open like in April and May when the college kids get out, nobody's there. You just ride everything. It's great.
The college kids get out like that 2-week period when the college kids are out, but the elementary school kids aren't. Also, I mean, I just spring for it. I go ahead and I do it. I pay the extra money to not have to wait in line, and it makes the trip perfect. Perfect. Fernando Zepeda says, does SRS have legs? Bro, there are videos of me jumping on top of cars. Of course I have legs.
They're sexy, too.
They are nice. They are nice. I've got tiny legs. It defies physics, the fact that I'm able to do that.
I have very nice calves.
That did help me secure my Onnit sponsorship once upon a blue moon, though. Up next, Asuka, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Lana, and Naomi defeated Carmella, Absolution, and the Iconics. Lana's spray tan is horrible. I can pretty much just heap praise on Sonya Deville and even Mandy Rose in this match. I thought they were exceptional. Sonya teaches Naomi how to kick. I like Becky Lynch. She needs a run. The oohs are aplenty on commentary. And, you know, Sonya Deville's spear put Charlotte's to shame. And Kairi Sane's, for that matter.
Yeah.
Her spear's real good. They called you Jeff Very Nice Calves Hawkins.
I'll live with that.
I love the nicknames that our live chats give people. That's the highlight.
Trust me, I've had worse nicknames online. Keep going.
You'll be shocked to hear that Charlotte eats knees on a moonsault attempt.
What?
Tradition.
She didn't. She missed her moonsault?
It's unbelievable.
Wait, hold on. A Flair missed a move from the top rope.
She's got to do that eventually, right? Like,
what?
She's got to get caught in, I think it's called Deadly Drive, where you body slam somebody off the top rope.
Yeah.
I think
she has. I think she's done that at least once.
Has she? I need somebody to like hit me up. Like,
I want to say it was in a big. I want to say it was in a big match, either against Sasha for the women's title or in that 3-way at Mania when they were first brought up. I'm not certain of that, but I thought I'd seen it at least once.
Asuka gets the hot tag. She and Mandy work really well together, I think. Heels break up the Asuka lock. Charlotte does get her moonsault to the outside, because that's where she's able to, based on physics. My main takeaway from this is Becky Lynch needs a run, and Mandy and Sonya are both going to be pretty good.
Oh yeah, no. I saw Sonya and Mandy in the first house show that they ever ran here in Hollywood, and they had a pretty good match. And the knock against them at the time was they're only working against each other, so they're never going to get better. But that's not true. They've acclimated to this SmackDown roster quite well, I think.
I think they have acclimated far quicker than Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan have.
Yes.
Two people that, well, I know Sarah Logan had much more experience. I don't know about Liv Morgan, but actually Liv may have more experience. No,
she may have more experience at the PC.
She started roughly the same time as Sonya and Mandy because they were on Tough Enough just a couple months before.
Yeah.
So yeah, Asuka ends up winning. That's SmackDown Live. I mean, not a bad show, not a great show by any stretch, but I think that SmackDown hasn't had a bad show in quite a while.
It was inoffensive. I wouldn't call it good,
There
but
you
it
go.
was inoffensive.
It wasn't bad.
Did you take anything from the final shot with Asuka in the middle and everybody looking up at briefcases?
Yeah, my takeaway was the fact that every script I get about 6 times in it says established that the Money in the Bank briefcase is hanging above the ring.
Yeah, it's the point at the sign for WrestleMania. That's all that is. Yeah, so I think we need a caveat when we make predictions because I'm fairly. I mean, let me ask you something. There's not going to be a situation where both cases end up on one show. You think? Correct?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay, so should we pick a Raw and a SmackDown winner for each of the Money in the Bank matches?
Fair. And that gives me room to actually make these predictions because I already made mine last night and I'm chopping this up into a video. Let's go ahead and make these predictions. NXT TakeOver Chicago. Ricochet, Velveteen Dream. I have Ricochet winning this. What says you?
I have Ricochet winning this. I do not put it past them for Velveteen Dream to pull out a win.
This is going to steal the show in my estimation.
It's either going to steal the show or we're going to say Patrick Clark was out of his depth in this type of match, trying to match Ricochet move for move.
It's a fair estimation. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I predicted that maybe this spills backstage. Maybe an EC3 ends up attacking Gargano because Gargano moseyed his way into the middle of his match. I see that as the next program for Gargano, but I think Ciampa's going to win. I think he needs the win.
I think he's going to win, and I think Gargano is going to accidentally injure Candice.
Solid. Shayna Baszler, Nikki Cross. Just a prediction. I think that they kind of realize Sanity needs Nikki Cross. They're holding off. They're waiting on her. She's putting over Baszler on the way out, and we're going to see Shayna Baszler face a plethora of very raw women's wrestlers with her. She's raw in a show wrestling sense, not in a catch wrestling sense, but it's going to be an interesting time for women's wrestling in NXT, but I think Baszler's winning.
I said this when Sanity failed to debut after all the vignettes, that I hoped that they were holding them off because they were waiting for Nikki Cross. That said, I want Nikki Cross to have a nice feature match here. I agree that Shayna's going over, but I think Nikki Cross will go down as one of those talents who deserved a run, along with Becky Lynch, probably, with the belt, but never just the timing wasn't right there or whatever. That said, give me a Nikki Cross Becky Lynch feud. I'm all about that. But yeah, I hope this match over delivers. I'm not saying it's going to be a bad match or just their match. I just want this to be a standout match that people are talking about that possibly steals the show.
What I don't want to happen with Nikki Cross on the main roster is for them to Bray Wyatt her. Oh,
yeah, she's crazy, man. Oh, look at her. Yeah, no, then that is exactly their move. They're going to take the personality trait rather than fold it into the wrestler part. No, I could definitely see them. Look, we always say people can't miss on the main roster.
They can miss with anybody.
They can miss with anybody, and this is the type of act they miss with.
There was a point where I looked at Apollo Crews and I said, oh my God, he is the white meat guy that they love, the type of guy who is going to get the polarizing reaction that they adore.
Breaking ground. And the whole thing about his backstory and how he was a immigrant and you know his upbringing. White meat babyface comes up and just loses all the time.
Thought for sure they wanted him to be Cena Light. I thought for sure they did. No. Undisputed Era against Lorcan and Burch. I'm not sold on Lorcan and Burch as top characters. The thing is, I mentioned this on the Raw show. You can go with the pot. Maybe this will make them in the eyes of the fan things, or you can go with the sure thing of Undisputed Era, and that's who I'm going with.
I am hyped for this match. Probably a little bit more than you, because I think Burch and Lorcan are a nice mid-card, tough guy, babyface tag team. And I'm looking forward to this being a hard-hitting match. I think people sleeping on this do so at their own risk. I fully expect the Undisputed Era to do it. I don't think Birch and Lorcan become stars out of this, but I think this match, on paper you look at it and go, oh, this is so easy to predict. I still think it'll be a great match. I'm hoping it is, because I think Birch and Lorcan have been over-delivering in this. Two guys who liked beating each other up and found mutual respect for each other, and then found partnership in beating up other people.
Lars Sullivan challenges for the NXT Championship against Aleister Black. I think Black wins this.
This is the match where if we say a NXT takeover under-delivers, it will probably be because of this match.
Of course, and it'll probably be because of Lars Sullivan.
Yeah, I agree. We don't know what Lars can do. We know that he's very, very talented and very, very gifted physically. And Aleister Black has odd chemistry with people from time to time because of his style and the kickboxing style. It's a little bit like, I was saying this about Ricochet and Velveteen Dream, but this could be very, very good, or they could just miss. And look, I have full faith and confidence in NXT takeovers. One hasn't disappointed me yet. Most have over-delivered. I'm not going to shade this match unless it deserves shading, but Aleister Black, I think, is retaining.
Of course, we will have a live post-show podcast Saturday night. Also, I will be in the live discussion this Saturday. Come and join us. Our SmackDown live discussion had tumbleweeds rolling through it tonight. Change that next week, guys. I will be there Saturday talking with you guys. No smart-ass comments, Jeff. WWE Money in the Bank predictions. This show starts essentially at 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a long show. Daniel Bryan, Big Cass. How's it go?
I think Big Cass gets a win because he got the loss the last time. Pure 50-50.
Bobby Lashley, Sami Zayn. We know that Bobby Lashley would have won the obstacle course, which legitimately was the most impressive thing about this feud, was how easily he went through that.
He's 42.
Yeah, man. He ain't young.
He's 42 and he's doing that. I aged watching that. Bobby Lashley by murder death.
Fair. Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. Come on. I loved the Great Khali tease on Raw. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah. Bet the house on Roman. Bet the mortgage. Bet everything.
The deleter of Worlds against the B team. I have to see the B team at the compound.
Yes. The B team is an act that is tailor-made for that, along with Kane. If Curtis Axel does not go into the lake of reincarnation and come back out as Michael McGillicuddy, I don't know what we're doing with our lives right now. To me, the most anticipated part of this match is Bray and Bo facing off. I'm kind of digging that a little bit, but the streak ends.
Do you think we hear a Brother Bo, I knew you'd come in the middle of the ring?
I said during this kind of build early, when I forget when it was. I think it was like a battle. It was another battle royal, or it was something. I think these two acts should be aligned. I think these two are natural fits for each other. So I'd have no issue with that.
Bludgeon Brothers against Anderson and Gallows. I think Bludgeon Brothers are winning it, but and I get it. They want to build them as the top monster team, but they have nothing for these guys creatively.
I'm not sure a title changes hands on this pay-per-view.
I think one will.
Okay.
I'll make that prediction. Carmella against Asuka. I could see Asuka winning this.
Asuka got the visual tap on at the end of SmackDown. Carmella finds a way to keep the belt.
Ugh.
So she may not win the match, but she'll keep the belt.
Sure. Seth Rollins versus Elias. I think Elias wins here. Somehow wins here.
What changed me on this match for the winner was the promise of a concert to celebrate. That is so in WWE's wheelhouse. And it would free up Seth to go after the world title and Brock.
Exactly. And they need to sell those goddamn guitars.
The John Mayer ones?
Yes.
Noted celebrated hip hop artist John Mayer, which Byron did a callback of today on SmackDown, which I howled. I howled at that. That was great.
Now, I don't want to make a bold prediction here, but what I would do, I would go one even further, Jeff. I would go one even further. So, in all likelihood, the title on Raw is finally, the Universal title is probably coming back full time.
Okay.
Once Brock drops it, which is going to be soon. I would have Elias break Honky Tonk Man's record. I think it'd be poetic.
No.
I would have him do it.
They wouldn't let Miz break the record, and Miz was far more deserving to break the Honky Tonk Man's record.
Baby.
He broke Jericho's record for the number, but still.
Well, the thing with Elias that I think could help him is he can appear on a pay-per-view, have his moment, and he doesn't have to wrestle.
Yeah.
And that really can extend the life of something like that. I hope they do it. It's just more of a fantasy thing than anything else. But I would so love to see that. Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Ember, Charlotte, Alexa, Becky, Natalya, Lana, Naomi, Sasha. Who are your Raw and SmackDown picks?
Do the Raw women's title match first, because I want to hear your reasoning, and that'll help me with the women's Money in the Bank.
I think that Rousey's going to win.
You do?
Yeah.
See, it's weird because I can't imagine both Nia and Carmella somehow banana peel their way out of it.
Well, I think if Ronda wins, then Natalya.
If Ronda wins, it makes who wins the women's Money in the Bank almost a certainty. So,
I tweeted today how WWE taped the wrong knee this week. I wonder. It could be an elaborate hoax. I don't know that they put that much into it, but
you remember what we were saying after the show last week was it appeared that Corey had accidentally dropped Bayley's name as being in the match.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they probably didn't even think that far about taping the knee because they had already moved on. You know what? I'll go with Ronda just because it's the easy money and it's the most marketable.
My Raw and SmackDown picks, I have, I want to say Sasha Banks, but probably Natalya and I don't know that a SmackDown name wins this. Natalya and maybe Bayley or maybe Becky. Good God. But the irony is if I had to pick one person, I would probably pick Sasha.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Everything because of the Ronda wins screams Natty wins this. And I expect them to go through with Natty winning this. And if somebody on SmackDown wins it, it's probably going to be Becky.
Men's Money in the Bank ladder match, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, The Miz, Rusev, a New Day member, Bobby Roode, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe. I've been on record saying I want a New Day member to win this because I think creatively it can be nonstop entertainment for months on end.
Pancakes in the briefcase. There's going to be pancakes in the briefcase every week. You know this, right?
Okay, not that. I think they can make this entertaining almost, not necessarily weekly, but often. And it can keep them from having to be tied to any storyline because they're at the point where they kind of need a break from the tag titles.
Is it a Freebird rule thing where any one of them could cash in at any time?
Exactly.
Okay. I could handle that. First off, who is the New Day member who participates in this match? Who?
They want the Big E push, but New Day wants the Kofi push. But I legitimately think the best person for this match is Xavier Woods. I think he's the best fit.
I think he's the most intriguing fit into this match because they already got big guys to do big bad things.
Exactly.
Kofi, we already know, is going to do great aerial stuff. So he's already a known commodity and it wouldn't be as much of a surprise. Whereas Xavier Woods, Sure, why not? Okay, now pick your winners.
I am going to go The Miz, and on the Raw side, probably Bobby Roode, because he's the most heatless person, and sometimes they do that.
Damn you! That's my pick for Raw. I think this screams Bobby Roode's winning this thing and turning heel, because there's this weird trope in WWE that the person who looks the worst during the bill for Money in the Bank, they then justify it as, well, he's the guy now who needs the briefcase the most. And Bobby Roode has looked like the biggest geek throughout all these weeks. He's the guy, Braun breaks a ladder in front of him. Braun attacks him after a tag match. And yeah, The Miz, because that's the way to get the belt off of AJ and then move over to Brian, should they choose at any time to then move over to Brian.
I hate the idea of Bobby Roode winning that goddamn briefcase.
He screams that kind of Vince heel.
He does.
Doesn't he?
Baron Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, last man standing. I'm picking Nakamura. Who do you got?
Does Nakamura? So would Nakamura win the title then?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go with that. I like that. I was on the. You talked me into this last week, I think.
I did.
Logic, because I remember I was like, "There's no way they give this to Nakamura." That's a no, because I was saying no contest, if I recall correctly. And then it's like, well, here's the reasons why you could do it for Nakamura. Yeah, sure. He needs a nice little run as a heel with the belt. I like that idea.
What did I talk you into last week? What was the prediction I got you to change for Dominion?
Oh, was it the Young Bucks winning?
No, because I thought that the story of them losing 2 title matches, then winning in San Francisco was good.
Okay, it wasn't Jericho, I don't think. It was
God damn, what a match that
Come
was.
on, someone in the chat needs to remind us. Why are you people
I'll figure it out. But matches were announced for the New Japan Pro Wrestling G1 special from San Francisco. I know they're going to hit us with a big media blitz.
I have not heard these matches announced because I've been on the road all day. I just know Jericho will not work the show because of the WWE thing.
It's the 4 that were announced this weekend, rather.
Okay.
Did you hear of those? Kenny Omega and Cody for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, okay. I haven't.
Young Bucks versus LIJ's Evil and Sonata. Jay White versus Juice Robinson. And then you have Naito and Bushi against Okada and Ospreay. I think that's a good start, and they had to start announcing names. And I know Jericho says that he wouldn't work that, and the guys at Pro Wrestling Unlimited were talking to me about this. Go subscribe to them. They do a lot of great work with us. They're near 100,000 subs. He did that interview with, I think, Inside the Ropes before Dominion. And to be quite honest, I respect Chris Jericho. I never believe Chris Jericho.
No, but I also don't think he will work the States. I don't. I do think that he doesn't want to piss off Vince McMahon.
That's fair.
Whereas Rey Mysterio, who is not under contract, I think Rey and Jushin Liger have their match in San Francisco.
Yeah, I do too.
Which was supposed to be in Long Beach and then didn't happen. Grr.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Are you going to San Francisco?
No, not yet. Not unless I'm talked into it somehow.
I'm pulling up these Dominion results. Gonna see what I talked you into, because if you all missed it, Omega defeated Okada, an amazing match. And if there was any doubt that it was time to pull it off of Okada, that reaction at the end of the match, man.
Which did you like better? Did you like the Okada Omega match or Naito and Jericho?
I liked, oh man, okay.
Because I wasn't as emotionally invested in an Omega title win for my own personal fandom, but I understand people but people were kind of shocked by that. But it's like, look, I got no problem with that, but I loved everything about that grudge match with Jericho and Naito. I loved that.
So there were a couple of spots in the Okada Omega match that I wasn't a big fan of. Like I hate in a pro wrestling match when somebody has their opponent flat backed in the ring with their shoulders on the mat and they lift them up. To me, I hate it. Now, granted, the 2 times Okada did it, it was so he could do the Rainmaker to a guy. And his Rainmaker...
It was Michael Elgin. It was the Michael Elgin match.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Okada doing the Rainmaker is such a high percentage finish within that story. I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, even though I rated the Okada Omega match higher, from a pure entertainment standpoint, I kind of liked the Jericho match more because I didn't necessarily think that he could follow up that performance with Omega so well. And God damn it, he did it.
Yeah, it was just a brutal, brutal fight for me. And then it turned into a wrestling match halfway through. I really enjoyed it.
Elgin defeated Hiroki Goto and Taichi to win the openweight title match. Young Bucks won the IWGP heavyweight tag team titles. Takahashi won the junior heavyweight title. Suzuki Gun won the junior heavyweight tag team titles. And there was some other stuff too. Juice Robinson essentially got himself a U.S. title match by pinning Jay White. I think we predicted that, didn't we?
Yes.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I know New Japan's really going to push Juice in the States, at least from a media standpoint. So that's something to look out for.
That's going to be interesting. They push talent that they think they need to push in the U.S. because they're homegrown, but it's one of those things where, I mean, I've been to the specials in Long Beach. I've been to the specials in the Pyramid there too. Don't get me wrong. Juice Robinson's very, very popular, but it's like one of those things where it's like, yes, this is your American star, guys. Everybody, and it's like, well, we're here to see the New Japan product, much like everybody else. You don't need to pander to us necessarily.
Yeah, well, I think some of that for them has to do with the fact that he can do media. That
said, Juice Robinson, over the past 2 years has been fantastic.
Yes, he has. He did the right thing. It's happening quite a bit. These people who, I don't want to say tell WWE to piss off, but bet on themselves and put the work in.
Mm-hmm.
Cody put the work in. Juice Robinson put the work in. Chris Jericho has come and put the work in. That leads me to this discussion. For the first time in a while, I've heard, and to me, it's almost like inserting Kobe Bryant into the greatest of all time talk. Was he great? Yes, but there are two guys in particular that were way greater than him, almost objectively. But I'm starting to hear Chris Jericho's name in that conversation. And at 47 years old, he had two of the best matches, not of necessarily of his life, but of any life. He had two really, really great matches this year. Who is your greatest of all time in pro wrestling?
Ric Flair.
Where would a Chris Jericho fall in that conversation for you? Longevity, accolades, in-ring, outside the ring, promos, all considered.
I think he's been very good for a long time. I don't know if he's on my top tier. I think he's on my second tier. I think he's on my second tier with guys like, despite the fact that he murdered his wife and kid, Chris Benoit, Jericho, your Arn Andersons, that level of guys right there. I don't think he's on the Rushmore. I don't. Yeah. He's on that, but he's on that next tier, and that's not a bad tier to be on.
I have him 5 to 10, somewhere around there, based on longevity. I mean, there are guys that I think didn't necessarily have the longevity, but the impact was much greater. Although,
and there's a guy with a lot of longevity that's in the game right now that's moving up. If he headlines 2 shows in Mexico, so. It's still a history book to be written in many ways.
Speaking of a book to be written, I can't wait until Chris Jericho's next 2 or 3 books now. He's going to write about this run? Hell yeah, man. I can't wait for that.
I want to hear what his thinking was behind his outfit at Dominion.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear the backstory of.
I particularly want to hear the story about him asking WWE if he could use NXT talent on his cruise, then bringing him all the way to HQ to tell him no, and him not necessarily being that thrilled with having his time wasted. Oh, and then he's working with Ring of Honor, New Japan, and Impact right after that. Well, then after how many years of saying, I'll never wrestle anywhere else, I'll never do anything.
If he is on this San Francisco card, San Jose card, it's done. I think
it's sometimes you never know, man. Vince loves getting punched in the mouth. Vince just loves getting punched in the mouth. Guys, if you want a punch in the mouth of flavor, that is, Visit our friends at omg.com. That's omghee.com. Get those omega 3s, those omega 6s, the CLA. How about the vitamins A, D, K, E? Check them out. We got that promo code. We're only giving it out on the MMA show. So check that out. It's on our post-show review. It's on Holy Smokes MMA, which hit today. It's a good time, guys. And if you all don't mind, go tell them at OMG Butter on Twitter that you heard about them from us. I want you guys active in our live discussion on Saturday at NXT. Sunday, Money in the Bank. Monday, Raw. Tuesday, SmackDown. I'll be over there. If you want to ask me any questions, that's the place to do it. Or at Fightful Select during our Q&A shows as well. Those are quickly becoming our most popular shows. Also, guys, hit me up on Twitter. Tell me what you want to see retro reviewed on the Fightful Select podcast. Mr. Warren Hayes and I did Great American Bash 96. I thought that was such an interesting time after Hall and Nash debuted, but before the NWO necessarily debuted and almost a transition period. Jeff, what do you have going on this week?
Weekly Mid-South. Sean Ross Sapp, master of the segue, by the way, with that punch full of flavor thing.
Goddamn right.
You can follow me at Crab Game 13. We're going into the home stretch of Shake Them Ropes, at least for one of us. We're going to have to enjoy Rob while we have him. He's not watching wrestling. He's watching baseball. So we'll see what's on the show this week.
From a business standpoint, who owns the rights?
I don't think it's an ownership situation, but I think I'm being given the rights.
Ooh.
I am planning right now to continue the show, and he will guest from time to time, depending on if my life undergoes a major change this week, which I told you about before the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
I miss having Rob on, man. Rob was fun.
Yeah, but he's dead. Well, no, he's not. He's just not watching wrestling.
Guys, I'll be doing a fair amount of traveling in the coming months. I'll be in North Carolina. Yeah. I'll be in North Carolina at the end of June. I'll be in Toronto in August. I'll be doing commentary for a series of shows in Northern Kentucky. So definitely check me out at any of those. Follow me at Sean Ross Sapp and follow Jeff at Crap Game 13.
Yep.
Hot dog. Leave us a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that bell. We are out.